guys are marking out at the moment the electrical conduits, and they're going to transfer the height from the floor to that position, and they'll transfer that onto the sheet that's here ready to be actually put up on the wall. Okay, the measurements are being transferred now onto the plasterboard. These are for the power points, light switches and so forth. And in a bathroom area you'd be marking out the spindles, shower rows and so forth, all done in a similar manner. Okay, so just marking out at the moment power points. The boys now cutting out the actual positions to bring the cables through. The final trimming of these will be done by the electrician afterwards when he goes to mount his switches in there, or all the GPOs. Goalie's marking the top of the sheet here. On this particular job, it's not working course levels off the ground because this is an infill slab, so 1200 has to be marked. Normally it would be worked to the actual course level of 4 blocks. This gives the plaster the position where to actually put the corner cement, so he doesn't put too much on above the area where the joint's going to be. Okay, now the corner cement's been mixed up. It's been mixed up in a consistency that makes it quite pasty. 300mm centres, and just working down at approximately 300 centres. I'll just zoom in to show you the size of the actual dob there. And as you can see, it's across the centre of 2 of the dovetails, so what will happen is as it squashes out like a pancake, it'll mechanically lock into the actual dovetail grooves when it's dried, adhering the actual sheet mechanically, not relying on adhesion. And even though the blocks have been out in the sun, you get a slight amount of ultraviolet damage to the surface of the block where it goes slightly yellow. The dust that forms on there doesn't have to be removed because it's all mechanical. Whereas if it was a flat sheet, you would have to remove that to get the appropriate adhesion or batten the wall out. So that's this is the ideal way to do it because of the dovetail grooves, both for putting the plasterboard and render on the walls. Yeah, just finishing off the last little bit, just to give you an idea, about 1 bag of corner cement does approximately 30 to 40 square metres of sheeting. That's setting up to 4 or 5 sheets 6 metres long. Now the sheet's just simply lifted across into position. I'll just zoom in down the bottom here too. Notice how there's some packers on the ground. The packers on the ground are there to make sure that the actual sheet doesn't sit on the actual concrete. Gives it a gap at the bottom. So just use a knob cut of plasterboard there. Now the guys are just simply going to position the sheeting, and at the same time one of the guys is behind, he's going to poke the wires through. So it's important that the electricians provide enough excess wire to actually get behind it and carry out this work, otherwise it makes it quite difficult. Okay, so the wires are being pulled through at the moment. This particular area here is, I think, is going to be part of an office, and so there's quite a few points in the wall here. The sheet's just simply lowered down to the ground, and once it's lowered down, the guys will just double check there's nothing behind the wall. It's going to stop it from pushing back, being excess cable and so forth. And once they're ready, they'll now start pushing the sheet up against the wall. Now the sheet's just simply tapped onto the wall. That squashes the corner cement into the dovetail grooves, usually about a 5mm gap behind the sheeting. So when setting up window reveals, as you can just see just here, you set them up approximately 15mm inside the room, so you just your sheet will end up being flush when architraves on afterwards. Now once this sheet's put on, it's just a simple matter of getting a straight edge and a level, just to check that it's a plumb and square, you don't have any wavers in the wall. See if it taps onto the wall. Okay, the guys are now setting up on the next level up. And one thing to note here, it is better to actually put it right at the join level. Because what happens is there's a little lip there. If I just zoom in, you might be able to see it. A little lip from the block below. That actually stops the corner cement sliding down. With the 300 joints, 300 level heights on the actual blocks themselves, it makes it quite easy to actually set it up. These sheets, by the way, are 1350 wide. I was talking 1200 before, but they're actually 1350 wide. So 1350s give you a 2700 ceiling height. Now up the top here, the guys that cut this sheet, are going to cut this sheet a little bit short. Or they might actually get up behind it, because there's going to be actually a bulk bit up here. So the pipe in the corner, so they've actually cut out the corner of the actual sheeting. See behind the chap there. Same thing again, you've got the penetrations for the services. This is actually a kitchen here, not a workstation but a kitchen, so that's the reason for the range hood and ovens and cooktops and so forth. As you said, it doesn't take too long to put the actual corner cement on there. Stud adhesive can be used too. The only problem is with stud adhesive, it does take a little bit longer to dry. Where the corner cement dries very quickly, so it allows you to put the next sheet on there without the first sheet moving, particularly when you're lining up the recessed edges. Okay, up goes the sheet. Poking the cables through the penetrations. And just simply lower it down onto the other recessed edge. Guys, whack it onto the wall a bit like this. What this does is it gives the adhesion. That's the reason why we put it in 300 cents instead of 450. It gives you a lot more adhesion, so the sheet will actually hang there by itself. Now it's a simple matter of getting the timber straight edges, a little bit of weight behind them to actually make sure that the corner cement is squashed into the actual slabs like a pen, like a dovetail group. Usually, and then just putting it across the recessed edge, and as you can see there, both sheets are in a perfect alignment, and just by checking along the actual face of the sheet, tapping it in where necessary to make sure that it's correct. And you end up with a perfectly plumb plasterboard wall. Now, by putting the sheets on horizontally like this, in full size, there's only the one joint there that has to be set and sanded. And note how there's no screw holes, so there's no setting and sanding of any screw holes. So the sheets, when they're painted, actually look far, far better.